geeks out there. It is me, of course, Balasian Quita, and welcome back to another episode of Sin TV Now, where I bring you unique multicultural perspectives to smart, intelligent news as well as Asian pop culture. So, for today's episode, I have to say, I wanted to bring a new segment. I wanted to bring some more new stuff. I have a segment that I like to call Unpopular, where we talk about the topics that for some reason people cannot always have intellectual conversations about, meaning that there's always some kind of disagreement. And today's a big one. This is one that is it's always been a controversial thing within the gaming community, and that is PC gaming versus console gaming, and which one is better. I mean, you could talk about this all day. But before we get to that, just wanted to let you freaks know some updates in regards to the show. I decided that I am taking a challenge, and I am going to be playing 3 games a month. Okay, I'll be switching out the games. I'm crazy, man. I seriously am, but I'm gonna try it. So for the month of November, we're gonna be playing the following: Neverwinter, which is what I'm playing right now. Then we'll get back into Skyforge, and then one of the games that I will play will be viewer requested, and that is Sleeping Dogs. One person voted. So to that one person who voted on my poll on Twitter, I will be having polls from time to time in regards to like interesting questions or what games I should play next and stuff like that. So you can check me out at twitter.com/SINTVNOW. So SINTV now. So what am I playing? Excuse me. Indigestion, right? But okay, and okay, so I have someone that says that no one cares. Okay, well, hey, and I'm gonna make sure I say we have Jeremy here. Welcome, of course, to the show. And Jeremy says nobody gives a shit. Well, that's not necessarily true, because if that was the case, there would not be so many articles written about this topic. But hey, I appreciate you checking out the show and your opinion as well. So thank you. Okay, so moving on from that. So yeah, we're going to be playing Neverwinter. We're going to play Skyforge. And then, of course, we will play Sleeping Dogs. That's going to be awesome. I'm going to make sure I get the PS4 version, which is the definitive, which is much better combat, and yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's get into our game that we're playing today, and that is Neverwinter. Okay, and this is coming, of course, from the Wikipedia. And Neverwinter is a MMO, of course, and it is developed by Cryptic Studios and released by Perfect World Entertainment. Okay, so you can play Neverwinter on PC. You can also play on Xbox One as of 2015 and PlayStation 4 as of last year, based in the fictional Forgotten Realms city of Neverwinter from Dungeons and Dragons. Neverwinter is a standalone game and not part of the previous Neverwinter Nights series. So I've always liked games with like a fantasy like type of setting. So this is pretty much the gist of the game. So players can become one of 8 Dungeons & Dragons character classes and form groups of up to 5 players. Neverwinter is based on a modified version of the Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition rule set. This includes the use of healing powers and action points, the latter of which is implemented through a system referred to, of course, we know this, for those of you who don't, they're called dailies. allowing the player to perform a special ability by accumulating enough action points through combat. And here's the cool thing is there is a player created content system that is called the Foundry, which allows players to create their own stories and quests. So it's always interesting. It's very, very interesting. So if you like games like Skyrim, if you like games like Elder Scrolls Online, this is definitely going to be something right up your interest to play. So let's get into it. Then we'll also get into the unpopular conversation today in regards to PC versus console gaming and which one is better. So definitely leave your hate comments below because this is going to be good. So let's get excuse me, I am so sorry, freaks, I'm telling you. I am coming down with something. So base controls, this is PS4 version, so your analog stick allows you to move. Of course, to talk to someone, you hit X. The game is very self-explanatory, so you don't really need to do much, which is kind of nice. And then you have this kind of glitter kind of thing that tells you where to go and all that. So.
Tide of iron to weaken
okay, so L2 to use Tide to weaken the enemy. So that's weakening the enemy right there. Look at that. Oh, that's so awesome. I could just do that all day. There we go. Get those levels. Always important. But you know what inspired me to talk about this topic is I got a comment from definitely a regular on this show. Definitely shout outs to Bella, of course. And Bella brought up in her comment, you know, affordability and the struggle sometimes to be able to... Okay, we gotta collect arrows. Yes. And you know, just the affordability process. It's not easy to game. Like it sounds easy, but it's not easy because it depends on a couple of factors. Let's talk about it now. The first factor you have to consider, we'll start with PC gaming. When I first started playing on PC, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I just kind of went with what, you know, with what people told me, which is always the worst thing that you can do when it comes to PC gaming. Unless that person really knows what they're talking about, you know, do not take things for face value when it comes to PC gaming, because everybody will tell you, oh, this is the best graphics card. You should have this build. Don't get this, you know. The first thing you have to look at, which is common sense, is you have to look at your budget, okay? Now, on average, I would say a decent build, not like, you know, your over the top build, I would say would be between $500 to $600. Now, I know there are going to be people who will debate that and be like, oh my gosh, that is so ridiculously expensive. But when you think about it, you're going to have to get a graphics card that'll at least allow you to play in either 720 minimum. If you want to really like just bare minimum, then you want to get a graphics card that'll play like 720. But the standard to me is 1080p. So you want to at least get a graphics card that is like 1080p, and those graphics cards range for, like, I got my graphics card for like $180, but they can go up to the, you know, thousands of dollars. But it all depends on how significant you want your, like, how intricate you want your system to be. The other thing you have to consider besides your budget is what type of games that you're going to be playing. So for me, if I'm playing something like this, like Neverwinter, it is a little bit more of a graphic intense game, but it's not like ridiculously graphic intense. This is not like Blade and Soul, or a game like, for example, I just actually found this out. There are other, like, there's games too, like Terra. depending on how you have your graphics settings, that's going to make a difference. So you have to also consider what other kind of games are you going to be playing, and that's how you kind of match up your graphics card. And then you have to look at the physical of the build that you're making. So whether you're doing something where you want it small and compact, or if most of the time for gaming PCs, the more lightweight it is, the more compact and everything's kind of cramped together, that's the more the price goes up. So sometimes you may have to compromise and get something a little bit bigger than what you expected in order to keep your costs as low as possible, okay? But here's the thing about PC gaming that I always tell people is that, excuse me, low doesn't always mean good, okay? So the other thing you gotta do, you gotta do your research. Like I am telling you, if you do not do your research, you're kind of screwing yourself. Don't just listen to what people say unless they really know what they're talking about. You also want to get people to, like, not people, but you also want to get people who they do know what they're talking about, but at the end of the day, you have to come to a consensus when it comes to PC gaming. Like, you have to come to a consensus yourself. Like, for me, this was my thought process, okay? So first, I looked at the games I would be playing. So I looked at games such as, I said, okay, I'm going to play Neverwinter. At the time, I'm going to play, Blade and Soul. I may play a lot of, anime-based games like JRPGs, stuff with really flashy kind of graphics. So, okay, so Lunging Strike is that's like my favorite. But I really like this move the best, though. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so I had to look at that. So once I figured out the games that I knew that I was going to play, then that's when I started kind of asking people, because I actually have people that, they're really into building PCs and they know what they're talking about. And from that process, that's how I was able, oh my gosh, man, they are coming for me. So from that process, then that's how I was able to determine the type of build that I wanted. So luckily for me, I had a good friend that already had a build that was pre-built. And that's another thing too. Sometimes you can save money if you know people who are really good with like PC gaming and they build their own stuff, or if they're not even into gaming, they just like building computers too. Now the other route, which you can do, sometimes it can be frustrating, especially if you're new to it, is building it yourself. But here's the thing, sometimes you can even spend more building it yourself if you're not really kind of familiar with the terminology. So for example, for me, in my build, I have the NVIDIA GeForce, I think I have the 1050, I believe. Either the 1050 or 1060, like TI. So that will allow me to play up to 1080p resolution, and that's all that I want. I don't care for 4K and all that, like, it wasn't my thing. So that's the other thing that I kind of did. And then the body of, like, the actual physical case, it's big, but it's not too big that I can't lift it myself. So that's the other thing, is that sometimes the bigger the case is, that's the more heavier it's going to be. So those are some of the factors you're gonna have to consider too. And then there's always been this battle of, controller versus keyboard and mouse. For me, I use both. I prefer controller just because for some reason when I use keyboard and mouse, I just get really tired. It just makes my hand cramp up. It's just not a good feeling. So the other thing you have to consider too is your peripherals. Now, PC gaming, it can get ridiculous with the peripherals. And what peripherals are, for those of you who are not familiar with the terminology, Peripherals are your accessories. So this is going to be your keyboard, your mouse, and if you're the type of person, for example, where you don't like a lot of noise, keyboard-wise, you want to go with a brown switch keyboard. One of the companies that I recommend that I actually use is TTE Sports. They have pretty affordable keyboards. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Okay, so L3. Oh, okay, there we go. I was like, I need to learn how to block. Nope, I'm a fool. But yeah, overall, that's well, some of the companies too, I would say. Besides that, okay, let me get out of the way here. Okay, so besides that, I would also say, besides TTE Sports, I also like Logitech for their keyboards. Now, I do not recommend them for their headsets because their headsets keep breaking on me. That's just my personal opinion. But they do make really good mouses, and they also make pretty decent keyboards for all different price ranges. So I would say TTE Sports, and then also too, there are a lot of Japanese, not Japanese necessarily, Chinese, pardon me. There are a lot of Chinese gaming companies as well, and a lot of different like independent brands. What am I doing here? I'm just like, okay, let's see, must have a target. Alright, let's keep going here. But there are so many brands, like different independent brands that you can find on Amazon. Newegg is another cool place to find, you know, PC gaming peripherals. But yeah, that's just some of the stuff that you have to consider. What type of games you're going to be playing, okay? Then you're going to have to look at, you know, so what type of games you're going to be playing, you know, what's my budget, and then, you know, do I want a keyboard and mouse? Am I strictly playing controller-supported games? You know, what size monitor that I want? And I'm not even joking, I use my TV as my monitor. I have a Samsung monitor, and Samsung monitors are not as expensive as people would think. Like, they're not too bad. They're not too bad. And then the other thing too that you can do if you really want to cut costs is finding stuff that's used. If you can find stuff that's used, always test out used stuff though, you know, to make sure it works. And then also, you know, as a disclaimer, I'm just saying this right now. This is all stuff from my, you know, personal experience. I am, you know, not a professional when it comes to, I've never built a computer myself. I usually buy pre-built. And then sometimes pre-built means you gotta spend more, so. Alright, let's get this death block right. There we go. Level 4. Yes. Feels good.
Press L1 and square to menace.
Okay, so I gotta do L1 and square. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Man. Come and get some. Oh jeez, what is going on here? It keeps saying must have a target, and I'm like, I have a target. Oh shoot, come on, I gotta get that Archer. Oh, there we go. So yeah, those are just some of the stuff that you have to consider. Oh, there. Oh no! Are you serious? Wow. She was not nice. Alright, I'm gonna take you out, freak. Come and get some. Alright. Man, I'm still recharging? This is ridiculous. See, I gotta learn how to play this game. I'm sucking so bad. Let's see. Oh, okay. L1 and... Oh, L1 and square. Okay, there we go. Oh, skeleton slayer. I killed 50 skeletons. I feel so accomplished in my life. Alright, and then X, you gotta pick up your loot. Alright. Poor Private Wilfred. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's talk to him. Sorry, Bran. Man.
Of all my friends who died
That
because
sucks.
of her.
But yeah, like, I mean, those are some of the things you're gonna have to consider with PC gaming too. And to those of you who are, you know, much better with this too, you can leave your comments below and let me know what you think about that. So let's move on to console gaming. Now, I know the people who are going to be PC gaming elitists are going to hate me for saying this, but I gotta say it. I think that I am preferring console gaming over PC gaming, and especially for people who are beginners. And you know why? It's because it's easier to set up. I mean, when I started with PC, I started with PC before I really got into the more next generation consoles. And what I found was that with my console, it was so easy. Like, all I did was I got my PS4 about 2 days ago, and it just shows you how to do everything step by step. It's like, okay, you know, do this, you know, sign up for your, you know, your PlayStation account, did that, and then I was already good to go. And then they explained everything. And then they also, what I thought was cool, is that I could go into like the PlayStation Store and they have everything like categorized. Okay, very similar to Steam, where it's like, oh, okay, you have your, you know, free to play games, and I was like, oh yeah, Neverwinter is on PS4. So all I did was I installed it. And now here's the thing with console versus PC. The only difference though, it does take a little bit of a longer time to load the games. That's what I noticed. Like, it took like maybe 30 minutes per game for me, but it depends on your internet, you know, your connection speed. So that's going to kind of make the difference here. And then the other thing that I like about console gaming too is that you can just use your controller. You don't necessarily need to use a keyboard and mouse. Now the cool thing with the PS4 is that you can connect your keyboard if you have a Bluetooth keyboard. I have the, like I said, Logitech makes really awesome keyboards. I have the Logitech tablet keyboard, and all I did was I paired it up to the Bluetooth. The PS4 recognized it right away, and it was so awesome. So I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just so convenient, you know, and I don't have to like put in all these different graphics cards. Because here's the thing about PC that I think sometimes, depending on who you talk to, not everybody clarifies this, is as soon as the games get more advanced, you gotta change your graphics card. You know, because what will happen is if you have a graphics card that's kind of lower than the standards for the game, you'll have problems with rendering and textures and things like that. So it's not ever so often, but it's like a couple years pass and there's already a new graphics card coming out. Now for console, it's a little bit different. Depending on the system, like with the PS4, we'll have it for a while before, you know, the PS5 or whatever comes out. You know, there was the Xbox and then the 360 and now the Xbox One, and now we have the Xbox One X. So, you know, the thing that I like is it takes a couple of years sometimes between consoles, and that's what's so convenient about it. And then even for those of you who want to get into streaming, like, look, right now, I am talking to all of you. It was so simple. You just set up, you know, like, oh, here, connect it to YouTube. You get it all set up, and you're ready to go. But with PC, especially, you know, many streamers know this when you begin. It is such a pain. Okay, so what you have to do is you got to get the streaming software. So some people use XSplit. For me, what works really well is OBS. Then you got to get all that set up. Then you gotta get all your like screen dimensions and everything set up. So it does take time. Whereas with this, you can just get a PlayStation 4 camera and you have your show. You're good to go. It's so easy. So that's the reason why I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards console gaming. But the only con or negative about console gaming though is the games themselves. Like I could go on Steam and get these games for half of the price or more than half of the price than buying the actual physical game. Like for example, like a lot of these games are like $60 a piece, and it adds up. But then you have games like, for example, Elder Scrolls Online. You just pay for it once, and then you don't have to pay, a subscription. But then you have games like Final Fantasy XIV, where it is subscription based. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do get what you pay for, but is it really like worth it? And then here's the other thing that I found out too, which kind of irritated me about console gaming, is I didn't know this for PS4. If you have a PS4 and you want to play multiplayer, because I'm actually like having friends in my life, it's kind of nice. What will happen? Okay, which way am I supposed to go here? Am I supposed to go this way or? Oh, okay, I gotta continue to follow Sergeant Knox here. Okay. I thought I was following him. I was like, what the heck? Alright, we'll keep going here.
Please look in the chest for a token of my appreciation for your efforts today.
Oh, what the heck is that? Alright, let's keep going here. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I was like, where am I going? But yeah, I would say overall the only downside is with PS4. If you want to play multiplayer, guess what? You're gonna have to pay for a PlayStation Plus account, and the PlayStation Plus is like $60 a year. And there's kind of been like little debates about whether or not the games are actually, because you get like something like two games a month or whatever. Oh, cool! Got a really cool sword. Oh, earned a trophy, adventure of a lifetime. Yeah. All right, so let's talk to Sergeant Knox. That's with the crown. And I would like Neverwinter too, because it's a really easy game to get into. It's not really complicated. Great voiceovers. Oh my gosh, it's like you're watching a movie or something. It's just so wonderful. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that. I was like, why do I have to pay for multiplayer? This is so stupid. So I'm gonna just, I had to just bow down. I'm like, fine. So I'll get the PlayStation Plus, and I'll let you freaks know what I think about it and whether or not it's worth it. Because I'm like actually getting friends now, it's kind of nice. It's kind of refreshing, meeting people with common interests. Because of that, I will be playing games like Destiny 2. Well, my friends want to do multiplayer, not necessarily for me. I'm a very PvE kind of person. So all right, let's take a look here. I think that I can. Let's see how I equip my items. Okay, I have all my moves here. Alright, let's keep going here. But yeah, like if I want to play a game like Destiny 2, it's like the games are $60 a piece. And then the other thing is, because certain games are very popular, they're really hard to come by. So it's kind of like you're always in this challenge of like, oh man, can I get the game? And you're like, oh man, it's sold out, and then you have to wait for a long time. Whereas with PC gaming, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can, go to Steam and it's, instant, it's online. But here's the con though with online gaming and console gaming though, is like, for example, with Destiny 2, it's an online only game. So once the game ends, or let's say the game dies, well, that's it. It's not like a console game that actually has a physical copy where you can play it over and over again. So that's the reason why I like games like, you know, Persona and stuff like that. Because I would not play Persona if it was an online only game. I don't care how good it is. I would just be kind of upset because I'd be like, oh, I put like 80 hours or whatever. Because, I mean, you can put tons of hours into a game like Persona only to, you know, for it to disappear, and it's a waste. So that's the only thing about console gaming I would say is a downside, is if it's an online only kind of release, then you're kind of screwed once the game kind of ends overall. So what I did was I found these two really interesting articles. One is from the Business Insider, and it's called 12 Reasons Why Gaming on a PC is Better than game consoles. But that comment was really interesting from Jeremy, saying that nobody gives a shit, because if that was true, there would not be these type of debates. So one of the, and I'm not going to go over the whole article, but some of the points that they had is you can play games with better graphics than consoles, and it depends on how the game is rendered though. But I will say, yeah, I would say pound for pound, yeah, PC is going to be better because you got a little bit more power than what you can get. But now the console games are starting to catch up though. Because I mean, with the Xbox One X, I mean, I'm sure those graphics are going to be like way beyond the subpar that we have become accustomed to as gamers overall. So they did like a graphic comparison to The Witcher 3, which is very plausible, just because The Witcher 3 is a highly graphic type of game. So you have to have a really good PC to play The Witcher 3 and have it render really well. So the PC does outperform in that sense. The other thing they mentioned was Steam. Steam really changed the game for PC gaming. I mean, for example, they have a lot of JRPGs that you cannot necessarily get on console, you know, because their game is either really hard to find, or they add really kind of unique content to it too, that you can get, you know, that you can get the game on Steam. So it's pretty cool though on that front. So yeah, Steam is definitely, you know, ahead of the game, no pun intended, but ahead of the game in regards to that. Now everyone says PlayStation Plus, well, not everyone to generalize, but some people have said PlayStation Plus helps you to save money. So because, you know, you get free games and stuff, or you get discounts on games. But I had to kind of like look at it like, man, $60 a year? I mean, that's really it's kind of expensive, man, you know? So yeah, so those were just some of the points you know, that they had. So I thought that was very interesting. Then I have another article too that I found from PC World that says 9 reasons why PC gaming is a better value than consoles. So one of the things that they mentioned was price. And they said PC gaming is still more expensive, at least up front. That hasn't changed. If you can build a gaming desktop for $400, you're either a wizard or extremely good at snagging discount parts and waiting for sales. More power to you. So they gave kind of examples of, like for example, you can get a 3 gigabyte GT or GeForce GTX 1060 that'll cost you about $200. So on the low end, $200 is pretty decent for a graphics card. So, but if you find sales, you can always get it cheaper. But my advice though is to never buy a graphics card used unless you're able to test it to verify that it works properly. So that's something that I would definitely mention. It is very important. Very important. So you want to make sure that you do that. And then they say that PC gaming is affordable, but like I mentioned earlier, it really depends. It really depends on what type of games that you're going to be playing. Because the higher graphics your games are, that's the more you're going to be spending on your build overall. But hey, freaks, let me know what you think You know, in regards to this, do you think PC is better? Do you think console is better? And what do you think about my opinions in regards to that overall? Alright, so we're gonna do our first dungeon here. Very excited. So let's get going here. And the music is always really good in this game as well, so... Alright, let's give it a go here.
For the revenge!
It says must have a target. I don't know what they're talking about. Alright, let me check my options here. Okay, so options opens up your menu here. So let's see, character. Okay, that's the store. Alright, let's check my... There we go. Equip that. Okay. Alright, that's fine. Let's equip that. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so I can't open that right now. Alright, so we got a much better, Okay, so now if you hit options on your controller, that's how you're able to, Alright, let's keep going here. So far, so good.
For the nation!
I forgot what my main attack is. Oh, not enough action frames. What are you talking about? Alright, let me check my menu here again. Okay, so these are all your main options. Alright, let's keep going here. Yeah, I have to learn controls much better.
Betrayer!
I like how they said betrayer. Alright, let's see here. Up. figure out, I'm like, how? Yeah, I have to learn the controls in this game, so I'm sorry if today's episode is kind of, like, terrible. It's pretty bad. And then you have these kind of like sparkly areas like this you want to pay attention to, because you can open up these and get like some really unique items. Let's interact with that. Alright, we got Desert Rose, Nature Kit Success. Oh, look at this. Got a whole bunch of stuff.
Down with number of them!
Oh man, I gotta learn control. Alright, well, I, pretty much died here, but that's okay. I have to learn the controls. I should have done that, but it's like I haven't had
You have
time.
suffered a minor injury.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, so...
Receiving 2 minor injuries in the same location
Alright,
upgrades the
so
injury
I'll
from
be
minor
sent back
to
to
severe.
the same location where I
Use
was.
an injury kit or stand by a campfire to remove 1 minor injury.
Alright, so we'll stand by this fire here, since I've been injured. And then we'll get back to it in the next episode here. So, like I always like to leave you with some food for thought, just something to think about. So today we were talking all about PC versus console gaming and which one is better. And just like what Jeremy says, well, no one gives a shit. But here's the thing, people do give a shit though. Because if they didn't, there wouldn't be, many discussions about this. One to me is not better than the other. It's just going to be the matter of how do you personally, interpersonally, choose your setup. So if you're someone that doesn't like messing around with settings and you just want to be able to start streaming right away, I recommend console gaming. Okay, and console gaming to me personally, if you get like a used system, for example, it is so much cheaper than trying to build your own computer. Unless you really enjoy building PCs, then it's a little bit different. I recommend PC gaming more for someone that has an advanced set of mind when it comes to customization and what they want. If you're not really into customization and kind of tweaking things like that, then I would recommend, finding someone to build it for you. But you want to make sure that person knows what they're doing, so that way you are getting what you are paying for. Because PC gaming can get really, really expensive really fast. So know the games that you want to play, and then know your budget, of course, coinciding that, and then go from there. So with that, I am just gonna end today's episode here. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to check out today's episode. And of course, like I always say, remember to get smart and stay informed.